for the moment. Welcome, everyone. This is the webinar on game analysis and scouting. It's good to see and also to hear some familiar faces and voices. Some of you I haven't seen for a while, and some of you keep in touch more frequently, so it's good to see you. And some of you I still don't know, but we have time for that. Welcome. For those who don't know a lot about the School of Tactical Periodisation, more or less 50 years ago, Professor Vitor Frade was working in football as an assistant coach at a professional level. He was at FC Porto, and he was there for 30 years in different roles, actually. Sometimes he went out and back in, but he was there for 30 years. And throughout that time, he developed something, how can I say this? Unique, maybe, which was a different way, a different perspective on looking at things. When I say things, I mean training, the squad, the team, the context, and the game. And he was on the pitch as an assistant coach, and he started to notice that there were so many questions that could not be answered by the conventional way of training. And he started to experiment differently, just like that. He felt that there must be something else. There must be something else that could help me answer these questions that I have and to solve these problems and challenges that I face in my team. And he was at FC Porto. And when you are in that level, either you win a lot or you won't be there for a long time. And he was there for a long time. Because he was at the university back then also, he started to organize and to systematize the ideas in his head, and also to support scientifically what he was doing. And tactical periodization was born. Even the name tactical periodization, it's a bit provocative. It couldn't be any other way, because Professor Vitor Frade, for those who know him, he's very provocative. And also the name is very provocative. It's not a periodization of tactics. It's something else. And then it got really popular, mainly because the other assistant coach in that team was José Mourinho. And they both became friends, and Mourinho fell in love with this perspective, not with Vitor Frade, but with this perspective, with tactical periodization. And they were friends back then. These days, not so much, but that's a different story. And he said, well, Vitor, you know, if I ever have the chance to become a head coach, this is how I want to work. And then he did. Well, actually, he didn't. He went to Barcelona to be Van Gaal's assistant coach. And that was the year where he met Rui Faria, who was another former student of Professor Vitor Frade, who had to finish his thesis on the university, on his degree. And Professor Vitor Frade said, well, Rui, you have to interview these people, and one of which was José Mourinho. You have to go to Barcelona and interview him. And he said, okay, Prof, I just have to have permission by my parents and see if they can support me financially to go to Barcelona and talk to him. But that's a good opportunity, and probably I will go. And he did. And José Mourinho liked the interview so much that he said, again, if I ever have the chance to become a head coach, I will hire you as my assistant coach. And he was thrilled, as you may imagine. And he came back and talked to Professor Vitor Frade again, and he said, you are not going to believe, he told me this. He was, if you would be a head coach, he will hire me as his assistant. And Professor Vitor Frade said, well, Don't get your hopes too high, because in football, it could be really, things can change from 1 minute to the next. But the universe heard him and things happened, and they stayed together for 16 years or so. And the rest is really history. They won 27 titles or 26 titles, and it became Tactical Periodization really famous, really famous. And then coaches would come from all over the world, literally, and talk to Professor Vitor Fran for, I don't know, 2 hours, 4 hours, 10 hours even. But then they would go back to their countries and they started writing books, conducting lectures, organizing courses, recording videos on YouTube. These days, you can find everything on the web on Tactical Periodization. And most of it, if not 90% of it, is not right to be nice. It's not right. It will lead people away from what Tactical Periodization is, its originality. So, when Professor Vitor Frade retired from football or soccer and the university, a group of former students went to him and said, look, this cannot be over. We need to continue this. We need to continue your legacy in the original way, because we are noticing that all over the world, people are talking about tactical periodization, but it's wrong. It's getting loose. It's losing its originality. And he said, okay, let's go. So we summoned the first group of trainers or coaches. We started designing the first courses, some long, some short, one of which the professional master, that fortunately we have several students from that course here today with us. And because there should be at least one course that could go deep enough for people to really understand tactical periodization. And we cannot pass on 50 years on a short course. So there must be a course long enough for people to get a good idea of what this is. So we designed that professional master. And 8 years have gone by, and here we are, now entering a new phase of education with game analysis and scouting. So now you know a little bit more about what you may be getting into. So welcome again. My name is Filipe Moraes, and I work at the official School of Tactical Periodization. It's a pleasure for us to have you here, and we really hope you enjoy this. Today, Ruben Santos is one of the guys here. He will lead this event. He's the project manager of this course with game analysis and scouting. He has a lot of experience in Portugal as an analyst. I'm sure he will introduce himself a little bit more, or more accurately than me, at least. And he also did the professional master on tactical periodization, and he will help you guys discover, well, hopefully the next top players. In Portugal, it looks like it's easy, because it seems like that we have so many few inhabitants here in Portugal, but at the same time, so many quality players, it seems like an impossible task. So, Ruben, thank you for accepting our invitation. I'm sure it will turn out really, really well. I also have to thank André Monteiro, who is our guest today. He's been literally everywhere with football, from assistant coach to analyst, with some of the best coaches, namely Sérgio Conceição, Julen Lopetegui, Luis Castro, Paulo Fonseca, and recently at Wolverhampton with Vitor Pereira. So he has really a lot of experience in this matter. But in the last minute, unfortunately, he's not able to be here live because that's football. But we managed to record a session with him, some sort of interview with him and Ruben. and we will pass it on to you now for the next 45 minutes. But unfortunately, it will not be live like we wanted it to be. But we did that yesterday, I think, right? Yesterday or 2 days ago. And it was the best solution possible for the moment. So while we pass on that video, well, actually, Ruben will, you can write in the chat window your questions if you like. And Ruben will select a few, even with the possibility to pass them to André for him to answer. But anything that Ruben may be able to answer, he will right now or right after the video finishes. Is my English okay for everyone? Is anyone finding difficulties understanding me? Kian, I'm sure that you're not used to my English, but I hope it's okay. You complained before, the last time we were together, but again, that's a different story. Well, so before we show you the interview, let me just review with you guys some details on the course that you may have already seen on the document that we sent. Let me just share my screen really quickly. So we call this the Foundation Certificate in Soccer Game Analysis. It's a systemic approach because it's always under the perspective of tactical periodization. The major details are, it's for general public, of course, or anyone willing to deepen their knowledge on game analysis and scouting, and also on tactical periodization. It has a workload and duration of 24 hours, more or less, because it's a bit more, because we have an extra class, like an extra master class at the end. So it's a little bit more, but okay, 24 hours during 6 weeks. So it's every Tuesday for 4 hours a session. 6 sessions of 4 hours each every Tuesday. And the time frame is from 8 p.m. to midnight Portugal time. It's 100% online with synchronous sessions. This means it's with live sessions. If you are unable to watch them live, the classes will be recorded and uploaded to the platform, so you may watch them later. And the course starts with a minimum of 8 students. And because it's 100% online, it means that you can register anytime you want. And the registration amount is 50% of the cost of the course. So you register for 50% and you reserve your place. Once we have at least 8, every registered person will get an email with the exact date of the start of the course. And it will be, for you guys to be able to organize yourselves, it will be 3 to 4 weeks after, okay? So you get an email and the course will start between 3 to 4 weeks ahead. So everyone can be okay and organized to start this. If the dates don't suit you anymore, if you are unable to watch because something changed, like it did with André Monteiro, we will be more than happy to refund you the money so you can register later on the year or next year or whenever you want. So I'm sure you looked at the modules. If you didn't, you have time for that, not getting into this right now. So everyone got this, right? This document. There it is, the extra class, the exclusive master class with a guest or specialist at the end of the course. So for general public, and there's a difference here between general public and our former students. The general public will have 10% discount. Let me just admit here. couple of more people. So it's between, so today it's the 18th. So until the 20th, general public will have 10% discount and our former students will have 20% discount until the 20th of December, the day after tomorrow. We've designed a sort of specialization pathway on game analysis and scouting, meaning that this intro course is just an introduction. And there's a logical step of a specialization in analysis and scouting. The price that you pay for this intro course that we're talking about today is 100% deducted from the price on that specialization course. Okay? But you'll get information on that also. We have some other education offers, such as the Professional Master, like I told you before. It's a 1-year program on tactical periodization. It's a methodological specialization for coaches. We have it in English and in Spanish. I'm sure you're more interested in English. Also, the membership subscription, it's a platform where you get content and exclusive content throughout the year. It's also cool to take a look. You can see it, or all our education offer, you can take a look at it in our website. In the chat window, I'll write down the website for you guys to take a look. If you want to scan this code, you can with your mobile and take a look with more details what we're talking about. Does anyone have any questions so far? Sergey, nice to see you again. Don't know if you're there though.
Yeah, I'm here. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you all, everybody. Who we are talking about in the Portugal and before in the courses?
Sorry?
No, I just saying nice to meet you all. That's all.
Okay. Last time you were here, it was a bit warmer. Now it's not nice. Okay, so let's go. Let's go. So, please keep your microphones off. It's a 45-minute interview, and then we have 15 minutes for questions and answers, okay? Enjoy, and Ruben will take over. See you in a bit.
Hey, first of all, thank you, Philip, for that brilliant introduction and some history around tactical periodization. I think our former students sort of know it, but I think it's very useful for our new participants to know all those details. And of course, it's always a pleasure to see here familiar faces. It really warms my heart and brings back some memories. And also thank the School of Tactical Periodization for creating this challenge for me to create this course of analysis and scouting related to tactical periodization, because I think nowadays it's even more needed to clear some concepts around analysis and scouting. And so, like Philip said, André Monteiro was meant to be here live. Unfortunately, he can't be here today live, but I think this is something almost like analysis in football. Sometimes we try to predict everything, but there's always some degree of unpredictability. And in this case, it was the same. The positive aspect is that since we already done the interview, I can tell you for sure that it's worth it. And there will be many great insights from André. So stay tuned for the interview. And in the end, if you have any questions for me specifically or to ask André, just leave it in the chat and we'll try to reply to them as much as we can. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here with us. And I would like to thank André for accepting our invitation. It's a pleasure for having such an experienced and successful assistant coach here with us. I'm sure many of our listeners and watchers saw you on the Premier League this past season and this current season, and I'm sure they are eager to listen to many of your opinions and insights in this conversation that we're going to have today. So I would like to thank you again for accepting this invitation, and I'm looking forward to talking to you.
Thank you, Juan. It's a pleasure for me to be here, to be capable to help in some way. I'm going to try to give some good tips and good information for everyone about my experience, what I'm been working. So let's go. Yeah, I'm sure that everything that you will say here, everyone will like, and it will be a great contribution for especially analysts and assistant coaches that are listening here today. So I would like to start by highlighting and focusing on the double meaning of this of the title of this webinar, the soccer analyst, and that is a role inside the technical staff that is rising in importance and popularity, and especially yourself. You were an analyst, now you're an assistant coach, and I'm sure everyone can agree that your career has also been ascending and has been very successful until now. And so I would like to start by asking you, what were your responsibilities? What was your role? What do you have to do in this past team that you were on, Wolves? And explain a bit what was your work there. Okay. Let me just start by saying that for me, my experience, being an analyst, it really helps me when I change my role to assistant coach, because it really gives me the basis and the knowledge that I really felt that it makes me grow a lot in the way that I look at the game, the way that I made my role now, that I'm working now as assistant coach. That analysis, that time that I pass as an analyst, it really gave me that strong basis about football, about everything, understanding the game, the concepts, the ideas, so that's to start. I think it's really important to say this. It's a very important tool for every assistant coach, pass or know how to work as an analyst too. That's the first thing.
I think we can almost say that every head coach or assistant coach is itself an analyst, or has to be, or has to understand about analysis.
Of course, it's very, very important. So about my role as an assistant coach, I think it was the second question. My role in this moment was a little different. It's not all the analysis. Of course, I'm assistant coach. I need to touch different things. But my main roles were training, helping the coach in the planning, in the training, in the sessions, everything, preparing the games, but I'm trying to go a little more about what we are talking today about analysts. And one of the things that was my role there was analyzing our own team. And then when I'm saying this, I'm saying about watching our game, analyzing our game, analyzing trainings, preparing videos to show to the team, videos to correct, to develop, to make the things grow. And we are talking about match videos, about analyzing the matches, the games, analyzing the trainings, preparing clips, videos to show to the players every day, during the weeks, wherever. So this was my main role. I had more roles I was responsible for the offensive part of our game model, we can say like this.
Okay.
I was more responsible for the offensive. I was also helping me and another assistant coach we were responsible for the set pieces.
Okay.
The set plays. So as I said, as an assistant coach, we had to touch different things, but as a assistant coach and talking about analysis, I was responsible for our game analysis and training.
Anyway, so like we call it today, you did the post-match analysis, and then you showed the players what they did good, what they could improve, and that was your main role.
Yeah.
And
there we can say that of course we can have the collective video for everyone. To everyone, we are talking about units, we are talking about individual videos, everything.
Okay, so the performance, in general terms, the performance of your team, either it be collectively,
by unit,
by sectorial, individual. Okay, perfect. And I'm sure that everyone also would love to know, because you faced many of the top teams on the Premier League, many of the top coaches, and I'm sure everyone will love to know, how is it like to face those teams, those coaches? Because while you guys were at Wolves, you not only won some of those games, but in others you have had excellent performances against them. So how is it like to play against those teams, play against those coaches, and even prepare those matches, or even evaluate your performance after those matches, because those matches are against the best of the best, so I'm sure it must be something that it's not easy.
Yeah. When we arrive in Premier League, you really know that you are going to face the best players, the best coaches. So it's really difficult. It's really difficult, and it demands a lot of us as a staff, as a technical staff. Demands a lot of the coach. Every week, every game, you need to be in the best level, in your best level. You need to be really sure. But for us, the most important, and I think that's the most important of all, is if you go to this kind of level and you are very worried about the others, and when you are analyzing almost all teams in Premier League, we are talking about teams that they can make everything.
Yeah.
You cannot go there and analyze one team thinking that, okay, they only make this and this. No. I don't know. We are talking about they are good teams playing inside, but if you close inside, they will play outside, and they have the quality to play outside too. If you look at a team and you say, okay, this is not a team that is going to attack the depth very often, and you go there and you think, okay, we'll only see this and we are not prepared for the rest. So you arrive in the match and you think that you have analyzed the opponent and you know what you are going to do, and they start to attack the depth because you thought the other thing and you don't prepare, because they can change. They can change a lot. They have the quality, like you said, the players and the coaches. So these teams are really difficult to analyze but the most important for us is you need to be really sure about your concept, your idea, and when you create the context, and when you pick the way that you are going to perform, the way that your ideas, your main concepts, and no matter who you are going to face, you need to adapt. Sometimes you need to, of course, strategy and everything, but when you face these kinds of teams, you need to be, your base, it needs to be really strong, and you know exactly what you are, what kind of team you are, what kind of players you have, and what kind of football you want to play. And with that, when you analyze the other teams, okay, we are facing the best teams, the best coaches, but we cannot go far. We cannot change everything because you are facing all these kind of teams. So
And you play almost 3-on-3 in 3 days, so you don't even have enough time, even if you wanted to change a lot.
So with this kind of coaches and with these kind of teams, you need to be worried about little things, but you cannot only say that, okay, this team makes this and this. No, because they have the quality to change it. Even during the game, they can change. So you have to worry about little things, about some details in your team, most in your team, that, I don't know, maybe we need to have more cover from our midfielder when this guy has the ball, because normally can go outside or inside. So we need to pick our right back or left back. They can send them, they close one side and the midfielder is coming to close inside. Okay, and then you have to be more worried about these kind of things, and not about, because all these teams, they have huge quality.
Yeah, because most of them do everything right. So, and the game is so complex that, like you said, if you close some space, another space opens. It's always like that. And I believe I'm right to say, and if I'm not, you can correct me, that the game is so complex that nowadays we almost split the things and fragment the understanding of when we are attacking, or when we are defending. We don't think about how are we gonna attack after. And against those teams, for example, the way that you attack influences the way that you are gonna defend. Sometimes you are gonna play against those top teams, and you need to worry more about how you're gonna attack, because that is gonna influence how you're gonna defend. Because if you only think about defending,
No, you don't have a chance.
you don't have a chance, right?
No, normally I said that this kind of league, Premier League, and this kind of teams, like your team, is you need to have it's a league, a championship, that all the teams, they know how to do everything. So it's like us. If we go there only thinking about one thing, we are going to be dead, because all the teams, they know how to do everything. So you need to, it's almost like you are trying to control everything, because on the other side, the guys, if you are not prepared for all the game, you are going to be there, because you need to be prepared not only to defend, not only you need to be, okay, we defend, but we need to be ready to attack after. The way that we attack, the way that we prepare the transition, the way that our positional game with the ball is going to help us when we don't have the ball. Is going to help our transition. If you are far away, if you are not far away, I don't know. So lots of things here that we really need to prepare everything. It's not cutting some concepts worried only about one thing and not about the other, because it changes so fast, even during the game, that if you are not ready for that, you don't have the chance against these teams.
Okay, perfect, Andre. So when you are analyzing the performance of your own team, what let's say what reference points, what do you use to analyze and evaluate the performance of your own team?
So that's a good question that I need to create here some context for this, because if you are talking to me and I'm an analyst, I will have an answer for this. But if I am an analyst, or if I'm making an analyze inside a staff technique with a coach, this changes a lot, because when you are an analyst, when you are going to watch your game, or making your post match and everything, you need to see with the eyes of the coach. We need to analyze, taking in consideration our concepts, and when I say our, is the coach ideas, the concepts, the way that we want to perform, what we defend in the offensive way, in the defensive way, what are our principles, our our main ideas, to be capable to analyze and to show to the coach what we did or we didn't do. So we need to see basically with the eyes of the coach and with our own staff, our club ideas, If I'm an analyst and I'm making this not for a coach, not for a team, so here I can have my own idea, the way that I see the game. Okay? What I always try to do is analyzing the game and preparing the things to the team, to the coach, to the players, in the way, and taking in consideration the way that we play our game model, our concepts, our principles, and everything. But I always try to also bring some individual things, like the things that I believe they could help us to develop, to be better, to improve, and that I think it's like I said in the beginning, when you spend so many time being an analyst and watching games and games and games and teams and different coaches and different players and different contexts of football, you start to create in yourself ideas that lead you in one direction. My experience tells me that, I'm going to give you an example, is that if we make this kind of thing, if a center back makes this kind of thing, he will be successful. He will have successful against one team that presses with 2 strikers or something, because of what? Because of my background, because I already saw lots of games. I already saw the big teams making this. So what we try to do as an analyst is always be capable to see what are the high level, what are the new things, the new concepts, the things that, okay, I saw certain teams and I see, okay, they have success doing this, so it should be good. So this is a kind of thing that I want to bring to my team. So what we try to do as an analyst in this kind of role is always trying to help the team, the coach, to be, and help myself to be better too, and bringing all these new ideas, these concepts, and try to look at our game and be capable to bring always something more.
So an analyst always sees the game with different lenses and with his own eyes. So he needs to adapt to the context that he is. He needs to also try to see with the head coach's eyes.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
And we see this also, that it's almost like a cycle. You see a team doing something, you see them being successful doing that. Maybe you try to bring those ideas for your team or for your head coach because you saw them being successful doing that.
Of course, that's also the one of the main roles of the analyst is be capable to create the context, because sometimes I can see something that a big coach or a top team that he has successful making something. Okay, but I need to create the context to my team. What kind of players I have, what kind of team we are. We are a team that always have the ball, puts the opponent in the defensive midfield, or we are a team of transitions. We are a team that low block, high block. And you need to see. Okay, you identify. You can see that is a good thing, but before you go to the coach or you bring to your team or you start to talk about that, you need to think, create the context of where we are, what we want, the what kind of players we have to do this.
Yeah, see if it makes sense.
If it makes sense, okay, there it could be a good thing to talk about and to bring to the table.
Because one of the problems that I feel today is that we almost live in a culture of over-analysis, that everything is a pattern, everything is important, but at the same time, we seem to also be in a culture of under-analysis, because we are losing the interpretation of the game. So we are seeing the game as almost everything is important, but if everything is important, almost nothing is important. It's almost like a paradox. So what is your opinion on that, or what advice can you give to assistant coaches that are responsible for analysis or analysts, so they can try to identify what is important, what is not important, what can be seen as a pattern, what can be seen as an emergence of what comes from the game? What advice can you give to those roles?
No, I think it's not an advice. It's like you need to be for me. You need to be really sure about what you want. You need to be really sure about what are your ideas, what are your concepts, the way that you want to play, what you think it's really important. Because in nowadays, it's very easy. Every club, I don't know, in Premier League or in, all the experiences that I had, almost all the clubs now, they have lots of people working around the team, lots of departments, and all this, it generates information. And when you are not sure about what you want, like I said, and everything, it's really easy to lose yourself in the amount of information that everyone is giving you every week, every day, every match. So you start to lose your focus. Sometimes, if you are not really sure about this, about your ideas, you start to lose your focus, and you start to you are started to touch in everything. And when you look, you want to control everything. You want to touch in every department, every information, and controlling everything, and you lose the most important, that it's your concept, your idea, your guideline, we can say like this. So, because the amount of information that all the departments generate today, it's crazy. It's crazy. But I'm not saying also, and this is important, I'm not saying, and I don't want to say that this information is not important, because it's really important. But you need to be capable. And when I say this, I say about coach or technical staff, if they have the responsible for different things, they need to be capable to take this information, create a good context, and select what is really, really, really important, and what kind of things can influence your team during the week, during the trainings, during the matches. Because if you look at the data and all the information, you just find numbers and everything, and you don't create the real context, you don't prioritize, I think that's the word, organized this kind of information, it's really difficult for everyone, especially for the coach, because you completely lose your focus and your
status will get overwhelming for the coach to have all those information. And it's almost like for a team, running a lot can be a positive indicator for that team. For another team, running a lot means that they are having the ball as much. So it can be for one team, it can be a performance indicator. For another team, it can be an indicator that they are underperforming. And so we need to always adapt to our context, of course, our game idea, the way our team play.
And also you need to create a relation about the data and about the strategy for the game, about create the relation with the opponent you are facing, what kind of game you expect to be, or what kind of game you play. I don't know, if you play against a big team and you spend more time defending, of course the data is one thing. If you play against a team of your level or lower and you have more time the ball, you are more in the attack, of course the data is going to be different. So you need to create here always, be careful with the context. Of course everything is important, but in nowadays I think we cannot lose the focus of what is your main idea.
So I suppose we can say you also, on your own team analysis, you use qualitative data and also quantitative data. So but you need to try to create a context for those quantitative data, because can become noise, right?
Right. For me, the main analysis is based in quality, or the qualitative way of the things. The data is important, but most of the times, for me, I use it to prove something that I saw. Okay, not the other way. The other way, it's not the data that is going to influence my analysis.
It's going to support.
It's going to support and to prove or to bring attention to something that I saw in the analysis. And for me, that I always work like this. I really like the data and the information and the all those kind of information, but I try to be selective. I try to be organized the way and prioritize really well the things that I want to show. And sometimes when you need to really prove something, they are important. You need to prove to the coach that we are doing something, or it's missing something in our game. One thing, sometimes when you don't have the image to support or you don't have the right way to arrive there and to say and to make the coach believe in something. Sometimes with the data, it helps you because you can see and there's no way of running from that. Okay, it can help you prove something. I don't know, even individually or individual work or something. It really helps you because it gives you some specific information, some details, but you cannot go crazy about this because I see lots of times I see people going crazy about and trying to go to the smallest detail. That
I think we can say that data doesn't lie, but if it doesn't have any context, it
of course
can't
of course
mean anything.
yeah exactly that.
And so I will also like to ask you about, because like we said, we can go on the smallest detail, but what is for you important, because the detail is also important, but I think sometimes people miscomprehend what really is the detail and what is important or what is most important, if it's the detail or the collective aspect. And if you could give an example of details that are important, but for the majority of people, they don't see that as a detail, while it is.
That's a question that it takes us back, takes us more to football and to really what I and go in direction of what we are talking before. If you don't have caution with this kind of information, all this kind of information, sometimes you start to be more worried about the small details, the small things, that about the big things. And for me, that's a big mistake that in nowadays we see that sometimes happen. Is like you have the big principles, you have the main concept, the main ideas, and this is not good. This is not flowing in your game. This is not working in your game, and you are worried about the way that your I don't know, your left back or your winger puts the body to receive the ball and go forward. The way that he puts the support, the way that he did the first touch, if I don't know, and okay, this I'm not saying that this is a detail that is not important. It's very, very important, and it depends on how big you want to make that detail for your game. But for me, okay, but it's like building a house without a base, you know? If you don't have the big concepts, the big ideas working, okay, let's work on this first, and then I go to these kind of details. Because, I don't know, if I'm worried about my winger receive the ball inside, in the pocket, or between the lines, and I'm worried about because he's not putting the body shape in good position, he's not looking before he receives the ball, and the first touch is not in front, but the ball only arrives there one time in all game,
Or when he's under pressure,
or in the bad timing, or when he's not the moment to do the pass, we have a problem. So first, and I'm saying is, if my idea is to touch this guy between the lines or in the pocket, as we call it, first I need to be sure that the ball arrives there in good conditions. Everyone knows what to do, the timing of the pass, where he puts the pass to the far leg, this is the really important. Okay, after, if the ball arrives there, okay, we go to the detail. Then we work on the guy on the pocket. We work on the body shape, everything, the first touch, everything. But in in football, I think it's also because we have access to lots of information, lots of coaches, big coaches talking, and everyone is focused on the detail. Okay, the detail is very important, but the main concept, when we look to, I don't know, to Manchester City or something, teams that really perform really well, they have the main concept, and okay, they have good players, but the main concepts are there, you know. The guys, they receive the ball, good timing, they receive well with the amazing positional game.
It seems that they always have time and space for everything.
Of course. And then when you have this, for me, you can go to the details. But if you start on the opposite side, you go first and you are more worried about details and not worried about the rest, it's very difficult to have success.
Yeah, I think we can say that the details are always consequence of the collective principle. Okay.
Yeah.
And not the other way around, because like I said, sometimes the winger might be losing many balls because the ball isn't arriving there on the correct timing or with the amount of space that he needs, and that might be consequence of your ball circulation, for example, that is too slow and allows the defensive team to close down on them.
We are talking, and I'm remember, I don't know, imagine we were talking about the guy in the pocket receiving there. Okay, imagine that in our game you want to touch that guy in the pocket, but the positional game, the way that he is moving, he is never in the right position in the pocket. Okay, you are going to be worried more about the detail, the way that he receives when he's there, and we are talking about one or two situations in the game, or the 10 times that the guy with the ball, he wants to put the pass there and no one was there, you know? And for me, it's like that. You need to prioritize what you want. You have to be really clear in your ideas. What I want. Okay, this is working. Now I can go to the rest.
But sometimes going with a magnifying glass to see the detail, but we also need to pull a bit back so we can see the big picture.
You know, for me, it's like you bringing this to analysis. It's like you are worried about the way that the action ends, and you are not worried the way that the things were before the action ends. You know, the way that you get there, and you are worried about the way that you finish, and you say, hey, you don't come back and say, okay, we finish like that because in the beginning we didn't do this, and this, or we are not doing this and this and this, you know? And we are worried and we only see the end of the action, okay? And we don't see all the way back to the beginning and say, okay, maybe here is the problem. That's why we are not doing that in front.
Yeah, that's why the football game is so complex.
Yeah.
And we can't just fragment things and analyze things in isolation, right? I also like to ask you, especially in Premier League and for you individually, what is the importance of strategy in not only in those important games, but overall? What is your opinion on that? Because let's be true about it. The Portuguese coach is known a lot for his adaptability and for being or having a very high knowledge, tactical knowledge, and the Portuguese coach is also known for being a strategist. So, in your opinion, what is the importance of strategy?
For me, especially in this kind of leagues, in this kind of level, strategy is very, very important. It's very important, but it's the same thing that the information. you cannot allow that the strategy absorb your ideas. Or the strategy will make you change what you want for your team, your concept, your game principles. What I'm saying is, of course, every game you need to adapt something. When I say adapt, is not changing everything, but some nuances for the game. Okay, and that I think it's important. It's very important because everything they bring you something different. They can show you something different, but we are talking about small things that you are using, but you are not destroying everything that you did before, everything that you, because this, imagine we are talking about analysis. Imagine that I'm an analyst and I make my team analysis post-match and everything, and every week we give lots of we care a lot about the strategy to the game, and we change a lot of things every game we change things. When you are an analyst, you go to post-match and you are going to see on the save, last week I said one thing to the players, this week I need to say another thing because we change, and we go to the next game and we change again, and in some point, and this is really difficult to control, is the players don't know the way that we play. They don't know your main ideas. They don't know what. Okay, you look to a team and you say, this is a team to this coach. This team belongs to this coach because you identify the concept, you know. But if you are always more worried about strategy to adapt to something or to someone, and you are not training your game, you are training another kind of game. And this is a real problem for everyone, for the coach, for the players, and for the analysts, everyone. And for me, it's important. Of course, it's really important, but you need to be really sure about your game, your idea, your concept. And the players, they need to understand that you are changing something, a little detail, something, because of an opponent, but they need to understand the why. Okay, and this is, for me, this is what I think about this, the strategy, the weight of the strategy in football.
And like yourself, or an assistant coach who does the own team analysis, if you change every game, it will be almost impossible for you to analyze your performance, because
Impossible.
or it will be analyzing the performance for that game, not for your team. That will be for that game, and it will be, sometimes it will be contradictory from one game to the other. And so to end this conversation, that I think everyone is enjoying and has had many very good insights, I would like to ask you, if you were, let's say, if you were starting now as an analyst, or when you started, what do you think that you would like to have or like to learn on an analysis course, or an introductory analysis course?
If I start now, I think I think there are two things that are really important. One is be capable to have experience in different tools, because an analyst, he needs to know how to manage these tools. And of course, if you have the chance to work with the best ones, it's better. You start already one step forward than the others. I think that's important. If I start now, I will like to be capable to work with with the different tools.
At least have some experience.
Yeah, have some experience, because that puts me on the different level. And the main thing for me, it's the game, learning how to see the game. And for that, I think it's talking, watching games and games and games, making reflections, analyzing, and listen to someone that watching the same game, touching different aspects, try to see if I'm going the right direction, if I see the same things or if I don't see, because that's trying to understand the game. Because for an analyst, is the tools, is the organization, is because it's important. Organization is everything is really important, but the most important is learning how to see the game. Is training the eye, is having the experience by seeing games after games to know what sometimes, okay, you make this is going to happen for sure because I saw it already 300 times. If this guy makes this, okay, he's going to be successful because he's doing the right thing. It's like a snowball. When you start to be more trained to see games and games and games, the things are going to flow. Sometimes you know what's going to happen before it happens, without even knowing, because your training is. And for that, talking about football, analyzing reflections, if I start now, I think I will do that. Talk with as many people as I can with more experience to show me how they do, what they talk about, what they see in the game. That could help me be better.
Yeah, listening to these kind of conversations and our webinar, I'm sure that not only me, but everyone who was present here and watched this conversation is now more knowledgeable, and it was a pleasure having you here, André. Thank you for participating. Thank you for your openness to share your experience, your work, your knowledge, and I see you guys on the next time that we make a webinar. Thank you and see ya.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for the invitation. Thank you.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed it. I think we got many excellent insights from a top level coach, and we could see some things that usually we can't see when we see these top games on the TV. And now we know some of the knowledge that comes behind what we see. So thank you again for being here. I saw that we had some questions. Do we have some time, Philippe, or?
Of course we do. We have about 15 or 20 seconds.
Okay.
Now let's go.
We
So-
have a
so
question.
We have one question from Ahmed Ali here in the chat window. I can read it out loud to you. I don't know if you want that, and to everyone else. I don't know if you want to start with that or open the microphones for whoever may have some questions, you know?
Yeah, if anyone has a question, especially if you have for André, you can leave it on the chat and we will pass it to him. If it's specifically for me, you can just open your mic and ask, and I will try my best to answer it. I see here Ahmed asked. I think it's for André, so we will try to direct this question for André, and then we will add it on the video, right, Philip?
Yes.
So anyone has anything to ask? Don't be shy.
I want to add a little insight for this from my perspective, if I may.
Yeah, sure, Yilmaz.
And yes, it was great interview. Thank you for that. I have been watching it as a with the eye of head coach, and I would like to thank for this new innovation from tactical periodization. I always see the things from the tactical periodization perspective, and I have been working with analysts, and I want to encourage all the other friends here. It is the way to, I believe it is the way to progress as an analyst and have a clear understanding of football, which is very attractive for the head coaches. I have been hoping from tactical position to have this kind of insight because in the in the in the operation, I have been always struggling with the perspective of other people because they always bring different insight. But we want something related to our game, and I believe this is the way analysts can improve themselves. Have a very great requirement for the head coaches. If somebody comes with this tool to me, I would definitely hire, and this is my feedback. It was very great to listen this podcast, and I believe it will be even greater in the future. So thank you, and it was very, very good. Thank you, Felipe, and thank you, Ruben.
Thank you, Yilmaz. I think having former students here, it's the best compliment we can have for the school, and it's the best advertisement we can have. So when we have you guys and girl returning here, it's I think it's the best advertisement we could have. And thank you again for your kind words. And that wasn't a question, but it was a really nice compliment. So thank you. But if you guys have any questions, just don't be shy and put it. I think we got some more minutes because we have another webinar after in Portuguese. If you understand Portuguese, you're welcome also to attend. So don't be shy. I also saw another question from Ahmed, and I think it's for Andre. So I think we will ask him this question because this is specifically for his opinion, I think. If it's not, Ahmed, just tell us.
Hello, can I jump in?
Yeah, sure. I think Mohammed also has another question for Andre, but be my guest and put another.
Yeah, you can finish with Ahmed, no problem.
No. Kustrim, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. So to jump into the topic, I had a question because when we talk about analysis, a lot of it's related to the game, pre-match, post-match, and so on. But what I find very important, and I wanted to ask if you had the scenario to ask how is the data and performance related to training process? So did you have any scenarios with that? And what do you think is the best opinion? Is that so we can create KPIs and to track the performance of the team, or what is your opinion on analyzing the training process, not only just the game?
Yeah, excellent question, Kustrim. And you almost gave the answer that I was going to give because I think the main focus here is establishing KPIs that are related to the way that you want your team to play, because the KPIs, the key performance indicators for my team can be totally different for your team. And so my training process must be related to the way that I want to play. We gave an example on the interview. For a team, running a lot can be a performance indicator. For another, it can be, let's say, an underperformance indicator. And so I think the first or the main thing is establishing the KPIs for the way that you want to play. Let's say that you have a head coach, or you as a head coach value a lot duels. Okay, you're gonna have you're gonna focus a lot on the percentage of, let's say, defensive duels that you win. For another coach, it might be important not even allowing those duels. So if you don't have a lot of defensive duels, it might mean that you are performing well because you are keeping the ball more. So I think the main focus is that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but trying to be as practical as possible. Let's suppose you're the coach, and whoever is the coach likes to place in deep, because that is where the danger comes. And let's suppose that the KPI for that is, let's call it, I don't know, behind the line, for example. So based on your point of view, you set a certain pathway and a structure to achieve that, or you think when you set the KPI to achieve that, is then the connection between the players that they find the solution to that outcome?
I think it's, in my opinion, both things, because let's say that you establish that KPI and then you create a propensity context in your training. So you have lots of balls in behind. And so let's say you establish one of your KPIs is how much balls in behind your one team had in that exercise. Then you can have another, okay, you have a lot of balls in behind. How many of those balls did you touch before the opponent? Because you can have many balls and the opponent can still defend them. Then how much balls in behind led to opportunities? And so I think establishing those different KPIs for what you value on your team, I think it's the correct way, but also contextualizing them, because like I said, you can have many balls in behind, but maybe they don't lead to anything. So there comes the qualitative aspect of the KPI. So I think what you said makes a lot of sense, but we always need to contextualize what we want for our team, either it be quantitative or qualitative data. And this is the hardest part, and this is why it's so complex.
I understand. Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. It was a very hard question, but I think this question is what makes us grow. So thank you a lot again.
Yeah, thanks.
Any other questions? And by the way, these are exactly the discussions that we value and we think are important and that we want to have in our analysis course. That's why we felt the need to create this analysis and scouting course related to tactical periodization, because we feel that nowadays there's so much information that we are tempted to use this information, but in a decontextualized way. And so our main purpose was this. So thank you again for that amazing question, Kustrin, because this is the discussions that we want to have. Any more questions? I think, like I was saying, we have one from Mohammed, but I think that's also for André. We'll try to get his opinion on that. Okay, anything else? So we close this webinar.
Can I bother you again? Sorry.
No problem. You make good, hard questions, Kustrin.
Yeah,
it was really a great question.
Yeah. Again, how is analysis department related to the scouting of players is my question. And this goes further in terms of, I think, is very different from what you see on the video than what you feel on the touchline. So
exactly.
How is these two departments are connected? How much and in what way? If you can explain, please.
A scout is an analyst. It's more, let's say, focused on individual aspects. I think the problem, and what we will try to explain in our course, is that we sometimes see these things in isolation. So especially now with tools like Y-Scout, we can see all the passes that a player made, and we can see that he had 95% success rate on his passing, but we don't contextualize the pass that he made. does some passes that he made were for the correct foot of his teammate? Were them with the correct weight, with the right velocity? Did his pass break lines when they could? So we need to contextualize this data. And while we are, let's say, analyzing a player in terms of like scouting, we need to contextualize these factors, because nowadays we usually see them as separated, and we always focus on the metrics. And metrics are important because when we see a lot of patterns, okay, we see a winger, all the top wingers in the world have 70% success rate in dribble. Okay, that might be a good performance indicator for that position, but we also need to relate it to other things. Like I said, try to understand if every time that he made the dribble, was it the correct timing? Was it okay? He passed the opponent, but did he lose the ball after? Did the team create an opportunity after? So we need to contextualize these metrics, or we start to only see data in an isolated way, in almost, let's say, robotic.
I agree.
way.
And sorry to interrupt. Like, what I find the hardest part is what you say about the context. For example, let's say I watch a player from the second league of Portugal. How I know that the interpretation of everything, it is equal to what I need him in my club? That is very relative, because he would do some good stuff there, but then by bringing him in another environment, which may be higher in intensity or in duels or less space, it is not so efficient. I don't know if you understand.
Of course,
I find it very hard.
It depends on the culture. Some cultures, I'm not sure what your nationality is, but let's say
I'm Albanian. I work in Albania.
I was gonna say Baltics or
no,
around that.
Albania.
Albanian
it's a
is
Balkan. It's
Balkan. I mean Balkan.
Yeah.
I meant Balkan. So for a player playing in a Balkan league, it can be a cultural thing to, let's say, have a lot of duels, a lot of aerial balls, and that can be seen as positive. While in Portugal, if you have a player that's always trying to play long balls and duels in the air, that can be seen as negative. So we need to always contextualize this, because it depends on the culture, it depends on the league, it depends on the player characteristics. So I think this is why it's so complex. It's not complicated, it's complex, and that's why we feel the need to create courses like this to try to pass on our knowledge and try to understand this better.
Thanks again. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It was a great question. Okay. So, Philip, are we done?
I think so, yes. If no one has anything else to declare.
I would just like to thank again everyone that came here, and hope to see everyone another time, because it's always great to see familiar faces, new faces, and we will try to get those questions to André so he can answer himself. And thank you again for participating on this webinar.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye, everyone. Keep in touch.
Thank you, and keep in touch. Thank you.